Doing
All
good.
right.
So,
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Okay, everybody, please turn your mics off except for Coach Houston. Let him give an opening statement, and then we'll go to questions after that.
okay, well, game week's finally here. I know for much of this year, we've all wondered if this week was going to come, and certainly there's been some ups and downs and some adversity for everyone in their lives throughout much of 2020. We've had the whole start, stop, all that stuff since we started preseason camp. But I think what we've all seen across the country the last couple of weeks is that you can play college football this year. And finally, it's our turn. So, the players are extremely excited. I could sense just a difference in them Sunday whenever I met with them and whenever we got out on the field. This is what they've been working for. And, even though we missed out on, spring practice, a lot of our winter conditioning, a lot of our spring and summer conditioning, they have been working very, very hard since they got back. And we've made tremendous strides to get to where we are today. So obviously we have, a great opponent coming in here Saturday. UCF is one of the top teams in the country. We saw a witness of that this past weekend when they took on a much improved Georgia Tech team who I watched against Florida State the weekend before in their win down in Tallahassee. And, UCF was very impressive in their blowout win this past Saturday in Atlanta and putting up 660 yards and scoring 49 points. So, tough opponent coming in here, but, it's good to start off with what has been, the best team in the AAC over the past 3 seasons. We get a chance to start off with them at home. So it's an exciting matchup for our players. They're excited about it. They're excited about, being at home for the opener. And it's, can't wait to get out on the field. So I expect us to have a good week of practice this week. I expect us to come out fired up and ready to go on Saturday. And 12:05 kickoff. It'll be good to be back to some Pirate football.
Okay, we will open it up to questions for Coach Houston.
Coach, you talked about UCF and their ability to score points and move the football. How is the confidence level with your defensive line to maybe buy a little bit of time for your secondary as they progress during this fall camp a little bit?
I mean, I think the kids are just, they're ready to go out there and play. Unlike last year, we've put an emphasis on building some depth there on that defensive front. So we've had great competition throughout preseason camp. We're going to play, we'll play a lot of kids on Saturday. And so they're just ready to go compete.
When you look at release today, how concrete or fluid is it still, going into the week and into Saturday?
I missed the first part. Are you talking about our depth chart?
The depth chart. I mean, is it pretty concrete, or can it still be pretty fluid throughout the week and through the weekend?
No, I mean, around here, I mean, you're competing every day. So you could see some adjustments between now and Saturday. Certainly there's a lot of oars on there. There's a lot of competition still going on. There's lots of guys that, have been out that are coming back this is really their first week back really practicing a lot. And so you could see those guys evolve as the week goes on. But I think that's the great thing about our roster right now is you do have a lot of competition across the board.
Coach, have you had any conversations with or reached out to other coaches, your friends in the fraternity, who have now played games to kind of get a feel for what the protocol is and how to handle game week, since they've been through it already?
Yeah, we've talked to several different programs, both within our conference and outside of our conference, just about everything from game day operations to, the sideline to just the feel of a stadium that's not full to post game. And it's so much different. And there's been, some things that, have popped up at other places that hopefully we can learn from those experiences and maybe avoid some of the, some of the things that have gone wrong at some places.
Mike, what's your take on UCF and what concerns you the most about them?
Well, I mean, obviously their talent and speed and athleticism across the board in all 3 phases is going to be a challenge. You watch them from the opening kickoff Saturday against Georgia Tech. And like I said, I think Georgia Tech is an improved roster. The speed differential was drastic. And so I think it's something that we experienced last year down in Orlando. So we have a good feel for it from that game. Beyond that, I think that, handling the tempo of their offense is going to be something that we're going to have to do a great job with this week. We've been able to, get a start on that a little bit last week, using our offense to help us there a little bit, but also I think our scout teams have done a good job trying to simulate an up-tempo deal. And then I think it's going to be just, we got to limit the dynamic plays that they have on offense. Hopefully we can have some of our own, offensively for us.
Mike, they jump on so many teams early with that tempo and kind of did
Right.
it last year. How important is it maybe to withstand that early surge that they try to get on teams?
I think it's critical. I think staying in the fight. I mean, I think that's critical right there. We've been talking about that and kind of equating it. I'm going to meet with the team this afternoon, and you got to equate it a lot to, the Mike Tyson of the early 90s and late 80s. He knocked out so many opponents so early in the match, and it was really till Buster Douglas, took him, into the latter rounds that he finally lost. And it's kind of that mentality. We've got to go out and we've got to compete and go at them, from the get-go, and not get behind like we did last year and what you've seen so much. I thought Georgia Tech did a decent job with that last week. They had 3 drives in the first quarter that all got down in the red zone. The disappointing thing for them was only coming away with 7 points. So I think if we can get a fast start offensively, and just keep a really competitive game, I think that'll help our kids' confidence.
You'd mentioned last week that you need to have conversations with UCF as far as what crowd noise or music you might want pumped in. Is that a decision that's been made yet?
Well, that's not conversations I'm going to have. That's conversations our administrators will have. So they'll be taking care of those throughout the week this week.
When you look at running back here, the 4 guys are listed, and obviously there's an or on the depth chart. Is that just speaking of what we've been talking about a lot, just the competition and the depth you potentially have there?
Right. And, Demetrius Mooney is a guy that's been, he was out, missed some time during camp, and he's coming back. So there's another guy that's going to be in that mix. But I think there's been a lot of competition right there. And it's something that, we want to play a lot of guys in the backfield. Now you're getting into competition, you're getting into games. And so certainly performance on the field is going to dictate some of that. But it is good to have multiple options.
How have the AAC guidelines that have been produced as far as how the team will be in somewhat of a bubble impacted how Friday, Saturday will go for the team?
Well, it's obviously going to impact it a lot. We've had the results of our first COVID test yesterday. Got those back today. I've already got my memo for my second COVID test tomorrow. So we'll get the results back from that on Thursday. And then, Friday morning we have our third test. So, those parameters are in place to try to ensure as safe of a bubble as possible. But after we get that third test back on Friday, then, we'll try to keep that group and our travel team together as much as possible for the rest of the day, Friday and on into Saturday. We have protocols for how we're going to meet, how we're going to eat, how we're going to travel, who's rooming together, who sits at the table when you're eating. We have so many protocols for all these things to try to create as much of a situation where we take the field on Saturday. I think the guidelines in place with the AAC should allow us to have a group on the field on both sides that are COVID negative. And that way your risk is just minimal during the competition. And I think that's where, you've seen some difficulties around the country from some conferences that probably are not quite as, rigorous testing throughout the week and probably not quite as strict a protocol.
Coach, Noah Henderson was a guy last year that played some games. Is he unavailable right now, or can you just address his status?
He's battling some stuff injury-wise. Hoping to get him back pretty quickly. Will be unavailable this week, though.
Do we have any final questions for Coach?
I got one real quick, Malcolm. Coach, I've heard some other coaches who have played talked about the emotions of game day and Saturday that they've experienced, just with everything the team's been through and COVID and this type of year. Have you thought much about that, or just maybe any extra emotions just making it to game time, what that kind of moment will be like Saturday?
I'm sure that'll come as the week wears on, as you get closer to true kickoff. Right now, still very much in a preparation phase. But there's no doubt, it's just with everything we've been through, with the uncertainty, I think all of us will have, a feeling of, just excitement. You have so many guys playing their first college game this week for us. I think those guys will be just, that may be a little nervous, but still excited to get out there and play. But I just, I'm excited to watch our team compete. I think that, our roster is a lot different than it was a year ago. I think it's a group that you're going to see, improve as the season wears on. But we get our first look at them this week against an opponent that's as good as anybody we want to see. So I think you'll have a great chance to watch them compete Saturday, and really excited about the matchup.
Coach, how much of a disadvantage, or is it a disadvantage at all, to be playing your first game against a team that's already got game experience under its belt, especially under these conditions?
Sure. I mean, I think it's there's good and bad to both. Certainly, with the team, with the youth that I have, you're always going to improve from game one to game two and be able to get game experience. So yes, I wish we had some game experience coming into this game. At the same time, there's probably still a little bit of unknown about us, as far as UCF goes, whereas, we have a little bit of confirmation on what we thought we were going to see when we saw them play. So all in all, I wish we'd played one by now, but it is what it is. I'm just glad to be playing this Saturday.
Hey, Coach. I was just wondering what your thoughts were about the Cincinnati game being moved again.
I'll worry about Cincinnati when we get to November. So glad. I think it's on ESPNU now, so glad to have a little bit of a prime time, viewing there.
Coach, going back to the O-line real quick, I know y'all have talked about rotating the line on the defensive front.
Right.
Do you see that happening maybe more on the offensive front with so many position battles going there?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you have some solid guys as far as depth competition going on, and certainly when Noah comes back, you'll have another guy added in, and that can only help us. You're going to see a couple of guys playing multiple spots to try to keep us fresh throughout the game. But certainly you see more quality depth this year than what we had a year ago.
Okay, are there any other questions for Coach Houston this afternoon? Coach, thank you very much, and we'll talk to you on Thursday.
Okay, thanks a lot. Talk to you guys soon. See you.
15 minutes, like post-practice, right?